Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Award Travel 101 Live. I'm your founder, Richard Kerr. Tonight we are talking about one of the most aspirational destinations on this planet that people want to use points and miles to. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. It is tough to get there, but not impossible if you know what you're doing and where to look. So I am very excited to present tonight's topic on visiting French Polynesia using points and miles. Hey, in the background, I've got Rachel Berkey moderating, working really hard. You're going to see me glancing off to my side here because she is talking to me on our moderator document. You can ask questions throughout the course of the broadcast. I will not miss them. Rachel is going to put them down for me. I will try and answer them. Please ask anytime you can. Hey, if you're just tuning in for the first time to Award Travel 101 Live, these are our weekly topics where I'm going to go in depth into the weeds, really get nerdy on a specific topic or a destination. I hope you join us every week. And remember, you can always watch the replays on our YouTube channel. If you just Google YouTube Award Travel 101, it's going to pop up with every single week's broadcast. So if you think, dadgummit, I can't tune in on Tuesday or Thursday night, don't worry. You can watch anytime. You just can't ask questions live. All right, let's talk about a few events before I get into French Polynesia. Frequent Traveler University, June 9th and 10th in Manhattan. Rachel's going to share a link here in the comments. You can click on it or just click on the events tab in Award Travel 101. All the details. I'm speaking twice right there in the middle of Manhattan. Very excited about that. Please get your tickets if you're interested in coming and talking really on the advanced level, some of the talks. Not too much beginner material there. If you think you know everything, I guarantee you don't. I learned something at every Frequent Traveler University. Before that, Memorial Day weekend, Vegas, Zork Fest. If you're asking me what a Zork is, I have no idea. But I can tell you that this meetup, that this really well-organized conference is taking the best of the casino gamblers, the people who know how to maximize every trip to Vegas, every cruise ship casino and casinos around the world, and they're mashing it with those of us who are travel points and miles dorks, putting us together for a weekend. I'm giving a few topics. I'm teaching a beginner's boot camp, 4-hour intensive course on that Sunday, but I am just as excited about going to Vegas and learning from these casino maximizers as I am about going and hanging out with all of you and giving a few presentations. Look at all the ticket options. Rachel again is going to share the info for Zork Fest, May 24th to the 26th. I think it's Memorial Day weekend. Really excited. Yeah, I see some folks already asking some questions about what's going to happen with these SPG properties in French Polynesia, and we're going to touch on that just a little bit. Remember to always support the group. You can get your next rewards earning credit card through the links in the pinned announcement at the top of the group. If you use those links and get approved, we get a commission. That is how I do this 24/7. Always protect your credit score. Never carry a balance on your credit card. And just slow down. People are getting all in a rush, especially with all this news going on in the programs. I want everybody just to slow down a little bit. Just take it easy. Remember, you want to use points and miles 20 years from now. So don't do anything in the next 6 months that's going to make that difficult for you, okay? Slow down. It's not going anywhere. Points and miles are going to be here because they're super popular. All right, I've got 3 sections tonight. French Polynesia. I want to tell you a little bit about the basics if you're not familiar with the geography and layout of the country. And then we're going to talk about hotels, and then we're going to go into flights. And I hope by the end of this next 15 minutes, you're going to be able to go off and plan, at least if you don't have the points and miles yet, how you're going to get those points and miles, and then how you're going to book this trip really down south, right? So, okay, a few of the basics about French Polynesia. I'm going to go into screen share here because Google Maps is your best friend. Let's see, I don't want to share that one. I want to share my secondary display. Okay, and I'm going to take this logo off so it's not in the way. Hey, let's take a look at this. All right, here we go, into French Polynesia. If we zoom out just a little bit, you can see pretty down far south from the mainland U.S. Yeah, a lot of people forget that. It's a long ways down there. And there's really 3 destinations you want to be concerned about. French Polynesia obviously spans thousands of miles throughout the Pacific. Not a lot down there. But you have your main island here of Tahiti, which is what everybody's probably heard most. This is where the main airport is. I had to look at a YouTube video how to pronounce it. Papiti is one of the ways. Papiti. So if I'm saying that wrong, blame the YouTube video I watched. Not too much here. This is the main industrial area of the country. Some people like it, but what you really want to do to maximize your time is get out away from the airport, which is right up here on the water. Your international airport, which you're going to talk about, the flight options. And you want to go to a couple places. So Moria right there, again, could be pronouncing it wrong. It's just a short 30-minute ferry ride away from the airport. You take a cab from the airport down to the ferry station. You buy a $20 ferry ticket, and there's a couple properties that we're going to talk about right here on the nearby island. Your other option really is to go over to Bora Bora. Make sure we zoom in on it correctly. And it's about a 45-minute flight. No, I don't want that. From the main airport over to Bora Bora, where some of the most aspirational properties in the world are, and certainly here in French Polynesia. The problem is one airline flies from Tahiti over to Bora Bora. If we zoom back out, you can see it's actually a little bit of a distance here. So you land over the main island and you take a 45-minute flight up. Air Tahiti, here's their website. You can take a look at multiple flights a day. They're the only people that fly to Bora Bora. This is in the French francs that they use. It's about $230 per person each way, right? So on top of getting to the main airport over at Papeete, you got to go buy yourself a $460 plane ticket for that 45-minute flight each way to get over to some of these properties. So no matter what you do, you got to save your pocket change. You got to be prepared to do a little bit more traveling after you perhaps fly a long way. But I think it's important that you understand the basics of that geography right there. So go to Tahiti. There's some great properties there, but you really want to get away from that. Moorea is a 35-minute ferry ride or $20. We're going to talk about a few properties there. Bora Bora, 45-minute flight on Air Tahiti, $230 per person one way, right? So quite expensive right off the bat. All right, so let's go into hotels. I'm going to cover some of the main chains, and I'm going to cover some of the independent properties I think you should be concerned about. If any of you have gone and visited, please put your recommendations in the comment. I have not been there yet. I've read a lot. I've researched a lot. I've written a lot of articles about the properties that are there, but the first-hand experiences are always great. All right, so I'm going to go through the chains. Let's start with Hilton. Two properties, the Conrad Bora Bora and the Hilton Moorea. So two different islands like we just talked about. 45-minute flight over to the Conrad. A lot of people have great things to say about it. Pretty expansive. Remember, French Polynesia is home of the overwater bungalows outside of the Maldives. This is where everybody wants to go and see those lovely mountains really coming out of the water with your views there. So Conrad and the Hilton Moorea both have it. 80,000 points per night. And availability is actually quite good for these two Hilton properties. Now, they're 80,000 points a night, like I just said, but don't forget, if you have Hilton status of any level from silver up, which, come on, everybody in World Travel 101 should have silver Hilton status. There's so many ways to get that without staying at the properties. You get your fifth night free. So it turns 80,000 points into only 4 nights for a 5-night stay, which is going to really make it worthwhile for going all of that way. All right, so those are your two Hilton properties. Again, when we come back to it, I really would come back, and these would probably be my first two choices because of the award availability and because of the cost and getting the fifth night free. Okay, let me go back a step and say, for all of these properties in French Polynesia, you got to check out the mandatory charges. I'm going to list a couple here, but mandatory speedboat charges, even from the smaller airports or ferry docks over to the resort. Turtle conservation fees, and these can be like $150 per person mandatory that you're going to have to tack onto it. Hey, what are they doing with resort fees? Always keep an eye on that. Those are getting so popular now. You want to make sure you're not caught off guard. So just remember the additional expenses, food, all that stuff you got to buy on the property. Even though you're getting the flight to Papeete for free, even though you're getting the hotel room for free, transfers, mandatory fees, food, resort, anything you want to do, right? We're still talking big bucks here, okay? So important to remember and plan for all of that when you're going over there. So those are two Hilton properties. Let's go to IHG next. Intercontinental Moorea, 40,000 points per night and great availability, okay? There are 3 Intercontinentals in French Polynesia. Do not get them confused. And you actually won't once you start to dig into it yourself a little bit. Hilton Intercontinental Moorea, again, that's just a short ferry ride from Papeete. 40,000 points per night, great availability. Now remember, what does the 40,000 points per night mean? You can still use your free night's annual certificate from the credit card there, even though they've devalued it. So a great property. I hope they don't raise that price. Great availability. Now there are two Intercontinentals over in Bora Bora. One is like the Thalasso, and then one's just Intercontinental Bora Bora. By all accounts, incredible properties. I think we just had somebody comment that they were wonderful. But there is absolutely zero award availability at these two Intercontinentals in Bora Bora. So if you have your sights set on Bora Bora, head for the Conrad is my recommendation, or the SPG property we're going to talk about next. But just remember, those two Intercontinentals on Bora Bora, forget about it. There's never a dadgum single night. So Intercontinental Moorea, 40,000 IHG points, good to go. Let's go over to SPG. Now, a lot of questions already, and I've thought about this a lot today in preparing. What's going to happen to these SPG properties, specifically the St. Regis Bora Bora, and specifically the Le Méridien Bora Bora. Right now, they are very special in their own regards within the SPG program. They don't fall within the award chart. If you go and look for award nights at either of these two properties, they're just going to say to call and check what they're going to charge you per night, which could be variable in star points. So I did that. So I called them up at the St. Regis Bora Bora. They wanted 58,500 star points per night. That is over 170,000 Marriott points in the new currency. There's a $130 mandatory boat transfer fee as well. So that's St. Regis Bora Bora, 58,500 SPG points per night right now. Le Méridien, 39,000 star points per night right now, and a $125 fee. So what's going to happen? I think we might be in a bit of a sweet spot right now. So because of the new changes coming in August, everything's going to be a category 1 to 7. Nothing is going to be in a category 8, and there are no peak dates. Hopefully they've thought about these special properties, and I know during one of the interviews that I watched with the head of Marriott, he said, we're still looking at these specialty all-suite properties, these properties that already operate on their own, and we're going to come up with what to do with them. My hope is that they fall within Category 7 come August 1st until January 1st, where the new rules kick in, and I'm sure they're going to be astronomically priced. So if you're thinking about going, I would really look hard on August 1st to either book the St. Regis Bora Bora or the Le Méridien Bora Bora, hopefully at Category 7 prices now, which knock it down by 3 to your current star points, and that could be a really fantastic deal. I hope that's what happens. What I think is going to happen come January 1st is that they're going to be this little asterisk somewhere on the award chart that says the following properties do not participate in the standard new combined program: St. Regis Bora Bora, Le Méridien Bora Bora, St. Regis Maldives. Call for availability, and they're going to be like 200,000 points a night. A great question from Michelle. She says, hey, are any of these point amounts I'm talking about regular rooms? Are they overwater bungalows? What are they? These are all standard rooms, okay? These are not the overwater fancy bungalows. So you need to call, you need to work your magic, you need to see if they're offering paid upgrades, try and go during off peaks, do whatever you can do outside of getting that base room for free to try and get upgraded. Now, if you read the reports on Flyer Talk, on TripAdvisor, many people getting upgraded to those, many people reaching out to the property before staying and asking, hey, what's it going to take? My personal recommendation is to offer to pay a little bit something when you first contact them instead of asking for that complimentary upgrade to the overwater bungalow. So, just be aware that you're booking the base rooms here. All right, so work on your status and see what you can do. Drew says Intercontinental Bora Bora with Thalasso can be booked with the IHG anniversary night. So not anymore because it's more than 40,000 points tonight, but that doesn't matter anyway because there's never, ever award space at that place. So you kind of have to write it off, okay? So that's what I hope is going to happen with the SPG star points. We'll see what happens, but if you're looking to go August 1st, let's hope it goes into Category 7. With the rest of the properties, and we just got to hope for the best there. All right, let me get some of these questions that we have going on here. Matt says, I thought there were 4 in French Polynesia, also an Intercontinental in Tahiti. Tahiti is French Polynesia, and 4 of what? I'm not sure what you got going on there. So I read these questions in real time just like you. Jessica says, can you talk about having a stopover at French Polynesia from New Zealand or Australia? Yes, so I'm going to get into the flights here right now. So that was a recap of the properties. My recommendation, Hilton, either Conrad Bora Bora or the Hilton Moorea, 80,000 points a night and get your 5th night free. Look at that Intercontinental Moorea for 40,000 points as well. And then, hey, come August 1st, let's hope St. Regis and Le Méridien fall in Category 7, and at least until January 1st, they're bookable. All right, so flights. Hotels are actually not too bad if you have some Hilton or IHG points or star points. You got options, you can make it happen. All right, so flights are really the hard part. I'm going to go airline by airline that flies directly from the U.S., and then I'm going to just briefly touch on some of the oddballs where you would have to position out of Japan or New Zealand or Australia. All right, so the good news. United just announced that they're flying nonstop from San Francisco to Tahiti. This starts on October 30th. It goes seasonal through March 28th. They fly 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. 70,000 miles round trip in economy, 140,000 miles round trip in business. That's at the saver level. So you're thinking, hey, 70,000 miles on a Dreamliner from San Francisco nonstop to Papiti, that's a pretty great deal. Availability does not exist. So let me see if I still have this pulled up. Great, I do. I'm going to pull it over here and screen share the current availability, what it looks like on United. Let's go over and share the screen. And here we go. Here's your 30-day calendar. So pretty awful. This is economy. Okay, so there are the Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursday flights. This is one way in economy, 77,500 each way. Is the way that it goes. So that's what it looks like. This is December and January. Let's see if it'll still refresh for me. Nope, it won't. But that's what you're looking at, right? 80,000 miles one way per person in economy. Not exactly ideal, but if you've got the Chase points, if you got the United miles, it is an option. Because you don't see any saver availability, that means you can't go off to Singapore Cruise Flyer or Aeroplan and try and book it with another Star Alliance program for cheaper. I just don't think they're going to make those seats available unless the demand is just not there. Seeing as how few flights there are from the U.S. to Tahiti and French Polynesia already, I think the demand is going to be there, and I don't think we're going to see saver spots on that United flight. Tough day, too bad. Oh well, keep an eye on it. Okay, let's go next. Air France flies from Los Angeles to Papiti. You can book it with the Flying Blue program. Availability actually pretty good in economy and business, not so much, but 30,000 Flying Blue miles. I just looked yesterday after the new Flying Blue changes, and it looks to be like it stayed the same in economy. If you do find business, it's going to be 225,000 per person, right? So, really, really expensive in business class, and you're looking about $60 in fuel surcharges in economy. So 30,000, not bad. Really easy to get 30,000 Flying Blue. Transfer from pretty much anybody, Chase, American Express, and City, and get on that flight from Los Angeles. So not a bad deal. What's a really great deal if you find saver availability with Flying Blue is to try and book it with Korean. So remember, SkyTeam partner Korean, they're with Air France, 60,000 miles round trip in economy, but it's 90,000 miles round trip in business. 90,000 round trip in business on Air France. It's an older 777-200, but still business class for the 8-hour flight each way. So if you find that Flying Blue elusive business space on the Air France flight, try and book it with Korean SkyPass miles. Transfer your Chase over to SkyPass. So next is Air Tahiti Nui. That is the name of an airline if you're not familiar with it. Nui is spelled N-U-I. You can book it with American miles. It's 80,000 miles round trip in economy, 160,000 round trip in business class. Use Expert Flyer for availability. I could write an entire 1,000-word post on booking Air Tahiti Nui flights with American because of the space. There's a lot of writing about it already. There's a lot of data there. So if you're looking to do that, it's a really great deal. 80,000 round trip in economy, 160,000 round trip in business. This is from Los Angeles to Papiti on Air Tahiti Nui. You can also book it with Sky Miles, believe it or not. Use your Sky Miles to fly Air Tahiti Nui. So the only airline I'm aware of that you can use both Sky Miles or American Miles to book on the same airline. It's 100,000 Sky Miles round trip in economy, 160,000 round trip in business if you can find that availability. Not too bad of a deal, really. 80,000 Sky Miles business class on an 8-hour flight, pretty much trans-Pacific. Okay, so that's Air Tahiti Nui. Expert Flyer, if you're not familiar with that, a quick Google, tons of resources. You can go in and look on every single day, and it'll tell you which days Air Tahiti has award availability there. Kimber says, can you use Avios for Air Tahiti Nui? No, you cannot. Only American Miles or Sky Miles. All right, and last, the one that everybody forgets about, Hawaiian Air. Hawaiian flies once a week, every Saturday from Honolulu to Papiti. It's about a 6-hour flight. Really nice new Airbus A330, and it's actually priced pretty reasonably. So from Honolulu is going to be 27,500 miles one way in economy, 47,500 one way in business class. It's only a once-a-week flight, but availability is pretty good, I think, because everybody forgets about this. What's even better now, if you want to fly from North America to Honolulu to Papiti, 47,500 Hawaiian miles one way in economy, 87,500 in business class. This is on Hawaiian Airlines operated flights with Hawaiian Airline miles. Hawaiian Airlines has a couple co-branded cards out there. They usually have pretty good sign-up bonuses, and they have business versions. So if you're after Hawaiian miles, they're not too difficult to get. So again, don't forget about that once a week Saturday flight. If I wanted to fly from the U.S. to Papeete, I would take a look at Air Tahiti Nui using American miles would be my first chance. 160,000 round trip in business class. And I think they're finally going to be upgrading. They fly old A340s that have recliner business class seats, but I believe they got some new aircraft on the way. Hopefully it lines up within this August booking window where you can get that St. Regis or that Le Meridian in the Cat 7 of the new program, which would be a super great deal. Really going to be looking forward to that on August 1st when it happens, but that's what I would do. Air Tahiti Nui using American miles. Again, if you just quickly Google use American miles to book Air Tahiti Nui, there's some bloggers out there that have some great posts about lessons they learn. A lot of times you call these phone agents and they have no idea what you're telling them to do. We're not partners with that. The IATA code or airline code for Air Tahiti Nui is TN, Tango November. So if you're telling them to look at a flight number, you need to tell them TN flight 001 or 081, I think is the flight from Los Angeles down there. But a lot of great resources out there. So those are your straightforward flight options. The other things you can do is position to Australia or New Zealand and fly Air New Zealand up. But award availability is pretty tight on that route, and they only fly, I think, 3 times a week. And then the other thing you can do is go to some really far-flung places down there. Air Kalen flies from Noumea, which is in between Australia and Japan. You can go over to Japan. I think there are some seasonal flights on either Japan Airlines or ANA in position from Asia. So yeah, Vincent's just saying that now. How about Air Kalen with stopover in Australia? You can't book a stopover. You're going to have to book every single segment individually using Flying Blue Miles on Air Kalen, but it is something that you can do. If you don't know any of what I just said, a quick Google Air Kalen Flying Blue Miles, and you're going to find some really interesting things that are out there. So that's French Polynesia. It's really not too bad as long as you're flexible and as long as you know where to look for this award space. I think my last ditch effort would be darn stopping Honolulu and then jumping on the Hawaii flight, which has great availability every Saturday, and getting those two places in together. What a stop in Hawaii, a stop in Papeete. I don't think you could ever come home after that. Let me see a few questions here. If I didn't get them all, Rachel, did I miss anything? Hey, a lot going on in the group. A great discussion thread on everything SPG Marriott merger. We're going to continue to filter that information as it comes out. We're doing Bourbon and Q&A live right after this, so if you do have more questions from 9 to 10 tonight Eastern Daylight Time, my moderators and I are going to be in the group on a chat thread. We do Bourbon and Q&A for an hour. You can ask me everything under the sun, and we're going to hit you with a rapid-fire question and answer session just like that. Mr. Pickle says, doesn't Air New Zealand fly from LAX? Not that I'm aware of, unless they just started that or announced that. But that's a good question, something I'm going to go look up right after this. Besides that, thanks for joining us in. Remember, you can always watch the replay on our YouTube channel, Award Travel 101. Just Google YouTube Award Travel 101. We'll bring it up right there. A lot of great events coming up. Click on the events tab in the group. Tell your friends and family. And remember, you can always support the group. Thanks, Rachel, for moderating, as always, with all of my notes that I have going on here. We'll see everybody next week.